All right. What's up, everybody? All my people in Manhattan, the Boogie Down Bronx, Queens, all the way up to Staten Island, my home borough, Brooklyn. Okay, I'm back at it again with another entry to the Greatest of All Time series. It's not, of course, not on a rapper. It's not on, you know, obviously it's gonna be on an athlete. Magic Johnson, Irvin Magic Johnson. Okay, you know, Magic Johnson, who's unquestionably to me the greatest point guard, and to anybody, basketball fans, the greatest point guard ever. Magic Johnson, somebody if somebody came up to me and told me Magic Johnson is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, I wouldn't agree. I think it's Michael Jordan. Nobody really want to argue with you. And I want to do this video on the athlete because the Lakers won the championship, so now all the LeBron sexuals, all the people like Shannon Sharps, the Shannon Sharps of the world, the Michael Jordan, LeBron GOAT debates back on, or all them crowning LeBron the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? I've always believed Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time. Even before the Last Dance. Why? Because I like history. I'm a student of history. Sports history, regular history, whatever. I just like history. You know what I'm saying? So, my pops had many like homie like Michael Jordan come fly with me. He had Michael Jordan games on tape. You know what I'm saying? He showed them to me. Of course, the highlights on YouTube and website I'm about to use in a second called Basketball Reference. You can go to look up the stats, and I've always believed Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. But people in my generation and people a little older than me are just starting to believe that. No, I mean some of them probably thought that as well. But after watching The Last Dance, all of them are like, yeah, he's the GOAT. He's no question. But this one's gonna be on Magic Johnson, who's definitely in my top five or probably my Mount Rushmore. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely my number two. Him and Michael Jordan, the two greatest basketball players of all time to me. That's just unquestioned. Okay, I might have to do my top 10 greatest players of all time. My list is very flexible. Changes every once in a while. But Michael and Magic being one and two, that doesn't change. Okay, but let's get into this. Let's look at some of his accolades in his career. He's a five-time NBA champion, and of course, so he played in '96 for the Lakers and '99 through 2000 with Magic and Seven Boras. But of course, I'm only going to use his initial career, '79 to '91. Okay, five-time NBA champion. Magic Johnson went to the finals 9 times in his 12-year career. So basically, 70% of his career, he was in the finals. Five wins, four losses. He's three-time Finals MVP, three-time League MVP, 12-time All-Star, two All-Star Game MVPs, nine All-NBA first teams. All-time he led the league in assists. Two-time he led the league in steals. All right, all right. You know what I'm saying? He's on the 50th anniversary all-time team, and just 32 retired by the Lakers, NCAA champion, and he won the MOP for the Final Four. Okay, this is a website I use a lot called Basketball Reference. If you're a basketball fan, a junkie, then this is a website you probably know about. If you don't know about it, it's showing to you right now, basketballreference.com. It shows you all the stats season by season of these players' careers. Magic Johnson for his career, averaging 19.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists. He's the greatest passer of all time. Like I said, he's unquestionably the greatest point guard ever. I don't think anybody's going to pass Magic Johnson. Like, Magic Johnson's influence, his legacy, I'm saying, him and Larry Bird, and they saved the NBA. Okay? Being real. And look at his rookie year. Now, Magic was, of course, a rookie in the 79-80 season. That year, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the league MVP. And Magic, and of course, he went down in Game 5, and that's when Magic had his legendary performance. In Game 6, he had 42 points, I believe 15 boards and 7 assists. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers led by Dr. J in Game 6, and Magic won the Finals MVP. Now, of course, Kareem had been on the Lakers for years prior to that. I believe he got the Lakers in 73, 74. I believe 73, 74, 74, 75, one of them years. But, he won league. He was doing things individually, All-Star games and win league MVPs. I remember he won the league MVP, and they didn't even make the playoffs. I think Kareem couldn't, get him to the promised land, per se. Because, great big man, you need a great little man. Will Chamberlain needed Jerry West. Shaq needed Kobe and Wade. Tim Duncan even needed Tony Parker. Even though Tony probably not on those other guys' level as a player, Tony Parker's going to the Hall of Fame. He's the only big man in NBA history who didn't really have Hall of Fame guards or Hall of Fame talent around him was Hakeem Olajuwon. And I know Hakeem hit that last year. They won the championship in '95. He had Clyde Drexler, but Clyde wasn't the same Clyde he was in Portland. You feel what I'm saying? But back to this, yeah. Here's all Magic stats from his years. The stars indicate them winning the championship or getting them into the finals and the league MVPs and all that. There's the points per game averages, the blocks, the steals, the assists, and the total rebounds, the free throw percentages. Yeah, like I said, and excuse me, I'm trying to click. It won't let me click it, but I'm trying to click on the 86, 87 season, which of course is the first year he won MVP. And after Bird winning it 3 years in a row, Magic finally won in 87. This was probably Magic at his best. He averaged 24 points a game. 24 points a game. Let's see, 24 points a game, 12.2 assists a game, led the league in assists, almost 2 steals a game, 6 boards a game. You know, Magic was at his absolute prime, his apex. 86, 87, 86, 87 season. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of Magic Johnson photos for this. But you hear Magic Johnson, but you know, like I said, he was a 5-time champ, 3-time Finals MVP, and a 3-time league MVP. And he's like I said, he's number 2 for me in terms of greatest of all time. Now, in terms of greatest of all time Lakers, like people, I see a lot of people doing this, on ESPN, LeBron's friendly network, all the LeBron plants he has in the media, Rachel Nichols, Brian Windhorst, you know, that slow talking motherfucker. What's his name? Dave McMenamin. No, Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman. When it comes to LeBron James, I give Max credit. When it comes to the Michael Jordan LeBron debate, Max, he tells the truth. So any other time he be bullshitting, but when it comes to Michael Jordan, he be telling the truth. Of course, don't even start on the Nick Wrights and the Shannon Sharps. A lot of them been saying LeBron's probably the best player to play for the Lakers, but now you got this thing called best player for the Lakers and the best Laker. All this bullshit. LeBron isn't the best player to play for the Lakers. He's not the best Laker. To me, it's Magic. Magic wins both of those. I personally think he's better than Kareem. I know a lot of people may disagree with that. That's fine. People say it's Kareem. It's fine, but I think it's Magic. Magic's the best Laker and the best player to play for the Lakers, in my opinion. R.I.P. to Kobe. No disrespect to him at all. But when you're talking about like the best Laker or the best Celtic or the best Knick of all time, you really gotta look at their career with that franchise and what they did for that franchise. So they changed that. Like Magic Johnson changed the Showtime era Lakers. Like the Lakers before the Showtime era, they only had about 6 championships. They won 5 in the George Mikan era in the late 40s and early 50s. They couldn't win shit with Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. Even when they got Will Chamberlain, still couldn't win shit. They lost to the Celtics multiple times, of course. Legendary Bill Russell, and they lost to the Knicks in 70 and 73. Knicks 70 73. They didn't win until 72, and that was after Elgin Baylor had retired. He actually retired that season, and then they went on their 33-game win streak. Which is kind of sad when you think about it, but as life has happened. But yeah, the Lakers didn't want, even though they were in Los Angeles and they had Jerry West and all them, they weren't really what we think of them as today. Now we think of them as Showtime, Magic, Kareem, Kobe, all the Shaq. That really started with the Showtime era Lakers led by Magic Johnson. He brought the flash and the pizzazz that Lakers are known for. Of course, now I'm showing pictures of Larry Bird, his iconic, legendary rivalry with Larry Bird. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Magic was black man, Bird was Caucasian man. Magic was in L.A. on the West Coast. Bird was in Boston, the East Coast. The Celtics Lakers, historic rivalry. The Lakers, I believe, lost to the Celtics 8 times in a row in 8 finals. Well, not in a row, but 8 finals. Every finals matchup, the Celtics beat them until 1985 when the Lakers beat them in Game 6. Or excuse me, in 6 games. In 1985 when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the league MVP or the Finals MVP. But Larry Bird, man, this dude is so underrated. Larry Bird, he's probably in my top 5. He's definitely in my top 10. I'm gonna have to do a video on Larry Bird. Maybe not necessarily be the greatest of all time, but how underrated he is. Bird was definitely one of a kind. Great shooter, great clutch player, great shit talker. He was a great player and great passer as well. But yeah, back to Magic Johnson. Of course, Magic Johnson bested Bird. Bested him in college in the NCAA final when Bird was in Indiana State or something like that. Of course, Magic was in Michigan State. He beat him in the championship game. Magic won the MOP. and then he bested them in the NBA. Now, of course, the first time they met in the finals, Bird won in '84, well, arguably the greatest finals of all time, which went 7 games. If you haven't seen it, you don't know nothing about it, look it up. ESPN did a 30 for 30 like 2 years ago. Celtics, Lakers, best of enemies. It was a three-part docu series on the rivalry. It was a great docu series, one of the best 30 for 30s I've ever watched. I highly recommend it. But but then Magic bested them in '85 and bested them in '87. After that, the Bird Celtics kind of fell off. Of course, I honestly didn't want to use this picture. Okay, I did not want to use this picture at all of Magic and Isaiah kissing. But we gotta talk about that. Magic and Isaiah, who they had an interview sit down interview a couple years ago. They discussed their friendship and their career and how their friendship turned to rivalry, and they became enemies and all that because of course they met in the finals 2 years in a row. They met in '88. Of course, in Game 6, Isaiah broke his ankle and had a legendary performance. He scored 25 points, I believe, in one quarter on a broken ankle. But the Lakers held off to win Game 6, and they won Game 7. And ended up beating the Pistons for their fifth and final championship of that era, the Showtime era. But then then the Pistons, bested them in the '89 finals by sweeping them. And that's the thing, the Showtime Lakers, like I said, they went to 9 finals in 12. Magic went to 9 finals in 12 years, but of course they lost 4. They lost in '84 to the Bird Celtics. They got swept by the Dr. J Sixers with Moses Malone. The 4-4-4, 4-5, 4-6s. No, R.I.P. Moses Malone, and they got swept in '89. So all their finals they lost were like bad, humiliating blowouts. You know what I'm saying? 2 sweeps, a 7-game series, which you probably should have won. Because Magic turned into Tragic Johnson, and they discuss all that in 30 for 30. It's part 2. They discuss the '84 finals. So, like I said, go watch it if you can. And then, of course, they lost in '91 to the Chicago Bulls. They won Game 1, but then the Bulls turned it up and won every other game and ended the Lakers in 5. Ended the Lakers we knew and loved them in 5. Because Jordan and Magic, here they are dueling it out. I said Magic Johnson had a triple-double. And let me say this, because you see a lot of people like Shannon Sharp say, Magic Johnson, hey, ski up, he cooked. Magic Johnson cooked Michael Jordan. He cooked Michael Jordan in Game 1 in '91. And so they put Scottie Pippen on for the rest of the series. Michael, if you go watch the highlights of those games, Game 1 through 5, like I said, they're all on YouTube. Like, all this shit that these idiots say on TV, it can be easily disproven if you go on YouTube and you actually look shit up instead of taking shit on face value. But so you go watch those highlights on YouTube, Magic in Game 1, Michael and Scottie were guarding Magic. Okay, so it wasn't just Michael getting cooked. Magic got cooked, or Scottie got cooked as well. Okay, they were tag teaming Magic the whole series. But like I said, you got to go watch it. Okay, don't listen to assholes like Shannon Sharp. And well, Shannon's a funny dude, but when it comes to LeBron, he be Lord have mercy. It's just I can't believe he's 50 plus years old, and he's that big fan of somebody who's damn near 20 years younger than him. But anyway, back to this. Here's the legendary Dream Team with Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Now, and that's the thing about Magic and Bird. Magic and Bird, they say they made the NBA respected nationally. The NBA in the '70s, it almost fell apart. Went bankrupt, whatever. Looked at as a black league. And of course the New York the New York Times called the Knicks the Knickerbockers, and a lot of those players were on coke and on all types of drugs, and the NBA was just like hell in the '70s. Then they brought in Magic and Bird. Magic Bird saved the NBA in the '80s. Like I said, by playing up that racial dynamic. Magic's black and Bird's white. One's on the West Coast, the other's on the East Coast. Of course, Celtics, Lakers, and all that. And then Jordan took the game to a global level. Like Magic and Bird made it respected nationally. Bird and them made it respected, or Jordan made it respected internationally on a global level. But as we see here, this is Magic Johnson in the '92 All-Star game when, of course, he had AIDS. And at this point, Magic was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, so a lot of people, were scared to play in the game because they were scared that they were going to catch AIDS if they got cut, and Magic's blood got them, they were going to have AIDS. A lot of shit was going on back then in terms of AIDS and HIV, but But yeah, here's Magic with the All-Star Game trophy, the All-Star Game MVP trophy. So like I said, look at Like I said, Magic, his legacy, he saved the NBA. Him and Bird saved the NBA. He made the Lakers what they're known as today. He, of course, with some help from big game James Worthy and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Magic was the leader of that team. A three-time Finals MVP and League MVP, a five-time champion. He's the greatest passer of all time, the undisputed greatest point guard of all time. Four times he led the league in assists. He kind of made those flashy passes, stylish. How Steph Curry made taking three stylish. AI with the crossovers and Dr. J and Jordan with the dunks. That's what Magic did for passing. You know, that's what Magic did for passing. He was my pop favorite player. When my pops was growing up in the '80s, he was a favorite player. Of course, my dad's a native New Yorker, so he hated the Celtics. He respected Bird, but he hated the Celtics. That New York Boston thing. So Magic Johnson was his favorite player until Michael Jordan came along. But yeah, here's Magic Johnson statue at outside of Staples Center. And they got mad statues out there. They got Chick Hearn, who was the announcer for the Lakers in the '80s, the Showtime era. They got Gretzky, got Kareem, they got Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Shaq got a statue. And now, they're going to give Kobe one. The only question is what number they're going to put on it. Kind of like when they were asking when they were going to retire Kobe's jersey, what number they use, 8 or 24. They're probably going to make two statues of Kobe, more than likely. But, yeah, that's going to be it for this video in terms of Magic Johnson being the greatest of all time. What do you think? What do you think? You like this video? Want to see more athletes? You got Magic? Who? You want to see one of Jordan, Kobe, Bird, Shaq, hell, Tim Duncan, whoever? Just comment down below. Like the video, subscribe, and help a young brother grow on YouTube. All right? See ya.